And I think that's unfortunate. There are a lot of businesses that are very nervous about this. In fact, we've asked the Economic Development Committee to engage in a survey of businesses in West Acton so we can find out what they think, and it looks like that might be possible, but people want to wait until after the numbers come out, which seems perfectly reasonable. But I just wanted to highlight your attention about the concept of government selling something. Thank you.
Michaela Moran, 80 School Street. I'm here to request that the Board of Selectmen seek independent counsel to more firmly advocate for the interests of the town in the matter of the Piper Lane 40B application before the ZBA. SANA, the South Acton Neighborhood Association, has its own counsel to advocate and protect the neighborhood as best it can. The applicant has counsel to further his interests. Both are seen as biased. While Councillor Nina Pickering Cook is present at the ZBA hearings on this application, she's there to represent and counsel the ZBA, a wholly independent body from the duly elected Board of Selectmen, which has unanimously opposed this project. I believe there's a duty to the town's people to ensure their interests are considered, that facts are checked, and all is copacetic. This has been done in other towns, Sudbury and Carlisle, for instance, in situations like this when faced with an untrustworthy applicant. I see this as a similar job to that of a special counsel or an inspector general. We, the townspeople, require a neutral, fact-checking party with an eye to the interests of the town. Further, I do not see this as necessary in all cases that go before the ZBA. This current applicant, has misrepresented important data in numerous documents. The town has not had sufficient opportunity to check the veracity of his assertions in the applications. Only a third-party counsel can do that. I reiterate my request that the BOS seek counsel. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens' concerns? Last Friday, we had an employee professional development day at Narra Park, which I think was very successful. And I think it was Tuesday, John gave the Acton Looks Good Awards to various businesses in town for the Acton Garden Club. And this morning, we were at Maple Street for the ribbon cutting for the acquisition of the Maple Street property that Gordon sold to the town. And tonight, item 4 will be postponed until 10:21, when we will have a presentation from Representative Benson. Was that 10? Yeah. John.
Hi, thank you. I have a few or a dozen announcements. I'll be quick though. First, I just want to recognize the Board of Health. A week and a half ago, we received an emergency declaration from the governor regarding banning the sale of vaping products in town, and our Board of Health staff jumped into action and took all the necessary measures to go out, do all the outreach, check in with the businesses the very next morning, but for 2 of them, they were already stopping selling the products, and once our staff did the follow-up inspection that morning, they ended it. So just wanted to mention that new requirements come into play, and we just absorbed them and put them into place, and they did a great job with it this week, or last week. And, the town clerk's office has been doing some analysis and research on other town clerks in the region, and we're going to be bringing forward some suggestions for some fee changes later this fall. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Manufacturing Day was last week. Selby did some work with the local tech school to bring some students through, so that's exciting. There was a ribbon cutting at the Minuteman High School on Friday, which was tremendous. It's a beautiful facility. There's a great turnout there, a lot of people from all the member communities, and it's a very exciting new building. We submitted our application for a Tree City USA designation today. Thanks to your support over the last few weeks on that initiative. We have received 2 grant awards recently, a Green Communities grant to do some energy efficiency improvements to our buildings, and then a planning grant for the Powder Mill corridor to work with Maynard on understanding things that are happening in that corridor and ways that we can plan for handling them and appropriately providing infrastructure for them. We issued a request for information on the School Street property, the former firehouse. That's known as the Civil Defense Building. We received interest from a few people, and we're going to continue working on that. So stay tuned. There is a celebration at the Forest Cemetery on 10/17. The Forest Cemetery has been there for many, many years, but it was just recently recognized as a historic cemetery. So we're having someone from Mass Historical and our senator and a few other folks out to, I don't know if we'll cut a ribbon, but we'll celebrate that. That's now on the map as a historic cemetery.
What time is that?
9:30 a.m. We'll follow up with an invitation. Just wanted to mention to the public. One other thing, we have scheduled a tri-board meeting, November 12th.
Add one thing to John's. This respect is with regard to Piper Lane. I received a communication from School Street resident Gene Berenson on October 2 with respect to the developer's planned excavation of the so-called canyon between the Berenson and Moran properties and the town's Great Hill Conservation Land, commenting on the likely damage and loss of trees on the respective properties with the excavation. And this suggestion was to obtain an arborist consultant to assess the situation and file a report with the ZBA in conjunction with the Piper Lane comprehensive permit application, with a specific suggestion that we pay the cost of the analysis on the townland side of the canyon. I mentioned this to Select Board member Dean Charter, who couldn't be with us tonight. Dean is a certified arborist, and he's also liaison to the land stewards and the Conservation Commission. And he is, willing to take the lead on that, to work with John Mangiarotti and these 2 committees, as well as the Open Space Committee, which David is our liaison to. Given that we've voiced our very strong opposition to the Piper Lane project, this would show our continued support for that opposition. So if it would be okay, can we have Dean take the lead with the several town committees to see if an arborist would be the correct solution?
David?
Yes, I'd be supportive of that. In fact, I attended the open space meeting last week, and I think the board will be receiving a recommendation that we do that, not specifically for Dean, but that we survey the trees on the conservation land side. So I believe that recommendation will be coming.
Does the ZBA have the authority to order, to retain an arborist and have the developer pay for it?
No, I think, I'm sorry. What was talked about here was I think it was the Berenson Moran household would pay for the analysis for their side. The town would pay for the analysis on our side. I did reach out to Nina Pickering Cook, and she said that was a likely expense the town could incur. The question was whether there should be 2 separate arborists, one to do one side and one to do the other side, because the interests may not necessarily, be totally in line. But we'd be better off that way. But it was definitely worthwhile to take this this on and explore it.
Well, is that all right with you, John?
Is there a timeline in mind here? I think it's something can we come back and talk about it another night, or does it have to be decided tonight?
Well, I would like to see if Dean could get going and gather whatever information and he could report back to us on it. But, you know, time is of the essence in the sense that the ZBA hearing is going on. I don't know how far it is from concluding.
The next hearing is November.
Alyssa Nickel, School Street. The end date, 180 days from the opening of the hearing, is January 11th, 2020.
Okay.
The next hearing is November 5th, 2019.
Okay, I mean, we're going to talk about this at a future meeting? Is that the plan, or?
Well, would it be okay for Dean to take the next steps and speak to the various committees involved, the Conservation Commission, the Land Stewards, the Open Space Committee, and work with John and report back to us on what would be the appropriate course of action? But I just think it's something we should, you know, get behind.
Yeah, I have no problem with retaining an arborist. My question, maybe John can figure this out, is whether the ZBA can retain one and have the developer pay for it. It seems they have the ability to, I don't know if Kristen has any input on this, they do have the ability to retain experts to advise them on these kind of applications and have the developer pay for it, is my understanding.
David?
I think one of the things here is that this may not be a zoning issue, but rather a property rights issue, that there's an effect on the property on both sides, and that's the concern, and whether the ZBA has the authority in this instance or not, I don't know. I think it's a good idea, especially since Dean's not here, that we assign him the work of preparing for the next meeting. You know, he can do whatever he wants, and then if there's something that we need to do as a board, he brings it up as an agenda item for the next meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Tara?
Yes, I was just going to point out that the ZBA has to take a neutral stance, and they can check on facts and stuff, but if the town hires a consultant to further its own position, I think that we'll get much better results. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, are we all set on that? All right. The Acton Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on October 7th, 2019 at 7:10 in the Francis Faulkner Hearing Room, 204 at the Town Hall, 472 Main Street, Acton, on the application of Win Stanley Enterprises, LLC, for a site plan special permit number 8-30-19-474 under zoning bylaw section 10.4 at 97 Piper Road, map parcel G3-70, and 1 Discovery Way, map parcel 1D number G3-71-1. The application proposes to expand the existing building. The application and accompanying plans can be inspected at the Planning Division office in Town Hall during normal business hours. Is there someone here representing?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson on behalf of the applicant. Tonight we're here before you with a site plan special permit application for a very small addition to the back of the Piper Road Discovery Way property, essentially in the U shape that the building provides. The small building would be placed in the rear of Middlesex Gastro. Win Stanley Enterprises has been working now for years with them to allow for them to expand within the existing structure. They've tried basically everything with the other tenants at this point, so we're looking to provide a 2,130 square foot structure to the rear of the building. The intention is that this building is temporary, hopefully only for a couple of years, but your zoning bylaw doesn't allow for that. So we were before the zoning board back in July requesting a variance for floor area ratio, which we received, and we're here before you tonight with site plan review. The small structure will be placed at the rear of the building. on existing paved surface, so there's no existing or increase in impervious surface for the proposed building. And we're able to restripe the parking in that area, move a dumpster, and then also place additional striping at another area on the subject site without increasing impervious surfaces there also. All utilities, we're looking to hook up in the vicinity of the proposed structure located to the rear of the existing building, so there shouldn't be any disturbance of earth. There's no trees being taken down for the proposed structure, et cetera. To keep it simple, that's essentially the whole project. So if you have any questions, certainly I'm here tonight. Barbara Green from Warden Stanley Enterprises is also here tonight.
Thank you. John, do you have anything?
No, I like the project, and I'm a user of it all makes sense, and it's a good service that Middlesex Gastroenterology provides for the greater community. So I'm for it.
David?
How big is the building in square feet?
2,130.
And there's a kind of an indent in the back of the building. Is that where this building is going?
Right, if I can go to where we are right now. This is the existing building, and this is the proposed structure.
And is the building there for them to provide services, or makes for storage, or?
It's for additional office space right now, so they've become very cramped on the interior and need this as a temporary measure until they can get some additional space.
And the additional space would come from elsewhere in the main building?
We're hoping, right, at some point that
That they'd be able to take over a neighboring?
that there'll be able to be some kind of an area swap potentially within the existing structure to get them back inside.
Thank you.
Peter?
No, I have no objections. Seems fine.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I would move that we grant the special permit, the site plan special permit, and adopt the draft decision provided to us by the Planning Department, with the one adjustment that Dean Charter is not present this evening to vote.
John? What?
I was just wondering if there was any comment from the public, but that can come whenever you're ready, just a reminder.
I'll just second the motion, and then you
Okay.
can.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion from the public? We're all set? Yes.
So it's all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We're holding on 4.
Yeah, just for those that weren't there, the item 4 to discuss a letter related to Representative Benson's recent legislation, we're going to hold until Representative Benson can be here to make a presentation, which I believe is going to be scheduled for 10/21.
Okay.
Can I just say one thing on that? So this is relative, I hope, is about there's a postcard that went around accusing Jen of certain things, and there were some really incorrect numbers on that, and I'm hopefully that she's going to correct those, because a lot of us are really in support of her legislation. Thank you.
Item number 5 is notification of the Massachusetts State Lottery Commission regarding Keno license application for Beijing Tokyo at 103 Nagog Park, Acton. Is there someone here?
No, this is just a notice that we received from the Lottery Commission, and the way that this works is that we bring it to your attention, and if you want to, you can call a hearing, And if you don't want to, the 21 days just lapses and it's approved. And so this is a request to add a Keno program at the,
Beijing, Tokyo.
yeah, at Nagog Park, 103 Nagog Park.
Discussion? John?
I'm good with it. I see no objection.
Yeah, I don't have an objection either.
So do we need to approve it?
You don't need to approve it, you can take no action if that's what you'd like to
Okay.
do.
That's easy. Dog Park.
Yes, thank you. So at the meeting a few weeks ago, we received a presentation from the Dog Park Committee, and they identified two locations, a primary location and a secondary location, as where they would recommend a dog park be created for the community. There was a great number of questions and comments that were presented by both board members and members of the audience, and we've worked with our staff. Mark Hall has led a working group of staff from all different departments to try to address all of the questions and comments that were presented that night. We're still working on that, and so I just wanted to give you that update and also mention that I think it might be helpful for the board to schedule a site walk so that we can go out there together and look at the areas proposed, and we should do that before it gets too cold. Those were the two main items I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, Joan? Yeah, with respect to the site walk, I would certainly support that, and if Lisa could do her Google poll on that. And I think it would be very helpful, since it's two sites at NARA that we're looking at, that we, in addition to the Dog Park Committee, we extend invitations to the land stewards who sent us an objection to one of the two sites, as well as the Miracle Field people who expressed their strong reservations about the other site. So that would be, I think Andy Ricard is the leader of that group. So I think we should invite them along and have everybody see it and offer comments and questions.
David?
Yes, John, I just wanted to know, when you said you were looking into the things, are you getting an opinion from the DPW on the use of that site and as well?
Yes, so we're looking at some of the cost questions that were raised, such as if we were to use exactly the site that was identified, what would be the cost to move materials and trees out of the way to allow that to happen in both of the locations, and then certain other questions related to what infrastructure would be necessary to support a dog park at that location or at those locations. We're looking at the town clerk fee question on whether and how that may be implemented. I think the answer on that is it's the board's discretion. You have that authority through our bylaws that you can set fees so that we know that. But then there's sort of the financial mechanism. What was suggested is that there's some type of revolving fund that's created. But we need to figure out if that's the best financial mechanism to track those expenses and whether there's other ways to do it. We're looking at maintenance costs. The committee's done a great job of providing us supplementary information about where how they created the maintenance costs and the pro forma, which has been very helpful. I think it's just something that we were hoping to have all the answers for you tonight. We just don't, and we didn't want to let a month pass without giving you at least this update and then suggesting this site walk, which I think would help to further along the consideration of these proposals.
Can I continue to make comments? So a couple of things. Again, at the open space meeting, which I attended at the end of last week, I think we're going to be receiving a letter from them, and their recommendation would be not to take down trees, basically. And so if we were to choose the B site, they would be opposed to that just because it would there'd be a lot of tree clearing. And in the A site, if the mound of loam needed to be moved to the very back of the property and trees needed to be removed there to make room for the pile of loam, they would also be against that. So anyway, that's their opinion. I did go out there myself, and I walked both pieces of property. The pile of loam is not just a pile. It's a huge mound, and maybe as big as 2 houses or something. It's quite a big pile, and I don't see how that could fit on the property somewhere else without taking down trees. And I think we need to leave the DPW with enough room to do their work. When there's a storm and they have to, clean up 150 trees and put them someplace, or they're doing paving and they need to take, get materials ready for the paving or take materials off. They need places to put these and sort these. It's very nicely organized now. So I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to squeeze them. I think from my personal view, I would not be opposed to the B site, but a lot of people are against cutting down that land that's adjacent to the town forest. So,
Peter?
If I remember, I thought there was tree clearing for a parking lot on the A site. Anyway, I don't know how extensive that was compared to the forest site, but a couple of comments. There was an assertion made, and Claire's here and the dog park people are here, but there was an assertion made that the Miracle Field was in support of this. I was a little concerned at some statements a member apparently of the Miracle Field Association or whatever runs that facility made during the meeting, who was very concerned about how the children who use the Miracle Field might react to a dog park being there. So in terms of whenever we get to approve this, whether it's a CPA application or just an approval to move forward, I would like a much clearer picture from the Miracle Field people about how they feel about this. You don't need to comment on it now. I'm just saying that at some point, if we could get a clearer sense of exactly how the Miracle Field people feel about this adjacent park, that would be helpful to me. You mentioned a revolving fund. I think they mentioned $4,000 for yearly maintenance. It's my understanding that this is under the rec department. All the recreation facilities in town are paid for through user fees. There's no general operating revenue that I'm aware of that goes into any recreation department program. So, and I haven't heard that there would be a user fee for this. There's been some talk about Friends of the Dog Park and fundraising and things, but I'd like a clearer picture also of how the revenue is going to come in to support this in terms of not using general revenue funds to pay for it. And you mentioned a loam pile. I mean, I was on the ZBA years ago. Loam piles are extremely dangerous for attractive nuisances for young children. I'm sure, I don't know whether it's protected by a fence or what now. A youth was killed in Acton climbing on, it was a private sand pile, I think, at one point, suffocated. So, I just want to mention that, and I'm sure there'd be a way to protect this, but to the extent there's going to be more people accessing the site, I want to see what separation there would be between the DPW facility and the dog park, but so those are my comments.
So we'll schedule a site visit? I'm losing.
Yes, yes. So I think what we'll do is through Lisa, we will connect with the 5 of you and other parties that were identified, hopefully at least a representative from those other groups. I'm not sure if you want to try to get all members of all committees mentioned here, because that might be a tough scheduling matter. But if we can get a group together and get out there probably in the daytime, I don't think we could do it at night this time of year.
We already did a doodle poll on this. I don't know. Lisa did send out a doodle
I think
poll.
it is-
Can we just decide it tonight for the selectmen?
That'd be
and then-
great.
And then
Yes, please.
let other members of other committees, if they're available, attend.
Sure. I don't know that the doodle poll was very fruitful in the results. I think it was, I don't think we got a full group together from that. So we could do another one.
Yeah, if you just, I think there were a lot of choices on that Google Doodle poll, so maybe narrow it down to the most popular ones. And
How about next Friday morning?
this Friday morning?
The 11th,
No, the one afterwards, the
18th? I could,
8 a.m. Does that work?
I have a dental appointment.
I'll be out of town, but I don't need to be there. I have walked the site myself.
I couldn't do it till about 11.
Yeah, I can't do it at 11. I could do it at 8.
At 8? Oh. I have the afternoon free. Thursday morning is fine. 17th?
How about we do it after the cemetery?
When's that? Is that the 17th?
That's the 17th.
So the cemetery event is scheduled for 9, so we could do it at 10 on the 17th,
Okay.
if that works for most of you. Peter, is that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go. That was easy.
Good.
Great.
10
Well
a.m. on the
done.
17th, Lisa.
Efficient government.
Okay. Consent calendar. Number 7, meeting minutes, September 23rd, 2019. 8, committee appointment, Michael Brandt, full member, Volunteer Coordinating Committee, term to expire June 30th, 2022. 9, committee appointment, Hema Santhanakrishnan, full member, Recreation Commission, term to expire June 30th, 2022. 10, committee appointment, Chris Hardy, full member, Recreation Commission, term to expire June 30th, 2022. 11, accept gift, Planning Division for $2,871.42 from Seal Harbor LLC in contribution toward the Sidewalk Fund as required in the Board of Appeals decision number 16-14, condition number 425. Is there a motion?
I move to approve items 7 through 11.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Yeah. Pursuant to Purpose 3 as listed in the open meeting law, the Board of Selectmen will hold an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to potential litigation concerning class actions against manufacturers and distributors of opioids, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body.